ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। कुरते सर्वलोकानां विषयैर्भवरोगिणां विधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुराज्ञेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तमा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं दत्त्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुम् मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते। You can chant from this sentence. अथ चतुर्विंशतितत्त्वोत्पत्तिप्रकारं वक्ष्यामः।
अथ चतुर्विंशतितत्त्वोत्पत्तिप्रकारं वक्ष्यामः।
चतुर्विंशति it means 24. ब्रह्माश्रया सत्त्वरजस्तमो गुणात्मिका माया अस्ति।
ब्रह्माश्रया सत्त्वरजस्तमो गुणात्मिका माया अस्ति।
ततः आकाशः सम्भूतः आकाशात् वायुः वायोस्तेजः तेजस आपः अद्यः पृथिवी।
ततः आकाशः सम्भूतः आकाशात् वायुः वायोस्तेजः तेजस आपः अद्यः पृथिवी।
अद्यः पृथिवी अद्यः
पृथिवी।
एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां मध्ये आकाशस्य सात्विकांशात् श्रोत्रेन्द्रियं सम्भूतं तत् श्रोत्रेन्द्रियं वायोः सात्विकांशात् त्वगिन्द्रियं सम्भूतं वागीन्द्रियं वायोः सात्विकांशात् वागीन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् अग्नेः सात्विकांशात् चक्षुरिन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् जलस्य सात्विकांशात् रसनेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् पृथिव्याः सात्विकांशात् घ्राणेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम्।
एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां मध्ये आकाशस्य सात्विकांशात् श्रोत्रेन्द्रियसम्भूतम् वायोः सात्विकांशात् वागीन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् अग्नेः सात्विकांशात् चतुरिन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् जलस्य सात्विकांशात् रसनेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम् पृथिव्याः सात्विकांशात् घ्राणेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम्।
Yeah, here Vagindriyam, instead of Vagindriyam, we can have Tvagindriyam, because Vak is going to come in the other context. Therefore, can make Tvagindriyam. Vak is also, it's not a problem. But still, Vayogo Satvikamshat Tvagindriyam Sambhutam.
Okay.
एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां समष्टिसात्विकांशात् मनोबुद्धि अहङ्कार चित्त अन्तःकरणानि सम्भूतानि
एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां समष्टि सात्विकांशात् मनोबुद्धि अहङ्कार चित्त अनन्तकरणानि सम्भूतानि
सङ्कल्पविकल्पात्मकं मनः निश्चयात्मिका बुद्धिः अहङ्कर्ता अहङ्कारः चिन्तनकर्तृचित्तम्
संकल्प विकल्पात्मकं मनः निश्चयात्मिका बुद्धिः अहंकर्ता अहंकारः चिन्तनकर्तृचित्तम्
मनसो देवता चन्द्रमाः बुद्धेर्ब्रह्मा अहङ्कारस्य रुद्रः चित्तस्य वासुदेवः
मनसो देवता चन्द्रमाः बुद्धेर्ब्रह्मा अहंकारस्य रुद्रः चित्तस्य वासुदेवः.
Okay, up to this, I think we saw in the previous class. So now we have to see the next one. We'll come to that. Before that, we'll just have a quick recap of what we saw in the previous classes. Since the last two classes were not there, so or maybe you would have forgotten certain things. So we'll have a quick recap. Trigunatmika Maya Savita Brahmanaha Akashah Sambhutaha Akashat Vayuhu Vayos Tejaha Tejasaha Apaha Adhyat Pratidhi. This we saw, and it should be clear to you. We have seen Sukshma Panchabhuta Srishti, creation of 5 subtle elements. That is what Akashaha, Vayuhu, Tejaha, Apaha, Ityad. If you have any doubt regarding that, you have to refer to the previous classes. Now, the 5 elements, subtle elements, Panchabhuta has come into being. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi. 5 elements are there, and each of the 5 elements has respective properties. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Sparsha is, that is why I said I can make it Surindriyam. You can say Vagindriyam also, but Vak is going to come later, therefore we can make it Surindriyam. It's not a mistake, there is no problem in that. Now, from the 5 subtle elements, Sukshma Pancha Bhutani, Sukshma Shariram is created. Subtle body is created. Subtle body does come. And from Bhutani, from the subtle elements, Bhautikani. Bhautikani is created. That is what we saw. And we are going to see further. Bhautikani is elementals. Bhutani is elements. From the elements, elementals have come. This is the second stage in the creation. Sukshma Bhautika Srishti. That is what we are saying. Srishti Vichara. Under Srishti Vichara or Samashti Vichara, we are saying Sukshma Bhuta Srishti, and elementals have come into existence now. The creation of elementals has started. How? We saw from the Sattva Guna of each element. From the Sattva Guna of each element, the 5 elements, each sense organ is born. Each sense organ is born. Like Sattvaguna of Akasha, from that Shrotrendriyam Sambhutam, Vayogo, from the Sattvaguna, Sattva Amsha of Vayu, Tvagendriyam, so fifth skin, Tvagendriyam Sambhutam, Agni, Sattvika Amsha of Agni, from that Chakshu Sambhutam, Chakshu is eye. So similarly, Rasanendriya and Granendriya, everything has come into being now. The five sense organs, Pancha Jnanendriyani of the Sukshma Shariram, they are born from the Sattva Guna of each element. And the Sattva Guna of all the elements put together, they form Samashti Sattvikamshat Antatkarnani Sambhutani. Antatkarnam is nothing but Samashti Sattva Gunatmakam. And Antatkarnam is only one, but based on functions, it is divided into four. Manaha, Buddhihi, Avankaraha, Chittam. Either you can divide into four or you can divide into two also, like Manaha and Buddhi. That is what we saw in the definition of Sukshma Sharira. Avankara and Chittam can be included in that itself. But here, it is divided into four. You can have four or two, there is no problem in that. And we have seen that Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha. Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam, that is Samshayatmaka. Samshayatmaka Antakarna Vrittihi is Manaha. And the Nishchayatmika Antakarna Vritti, that is Buddhihi. Ahankarta, Ahankriti, Ahankaraha, that is a Vishesha Vritti, the special Vritti. Why it is a special Vritti? Because that Vritti is there in spite of all the Vrittis. That I will never go. I is not here, ego, but I. That is there. Chintana Kartru, Anusandhapikam Chittam, that is Chintana Kartru, memory. So all these four, they constitute our Antakarnam, which is born out of Sattvika Amsha of Panchamaha Bhutani. Sattvika Amsha of all the five elements, only Sattvika Amsha, they put together, they form Antakarnam. And from the individual Sattvika Amsha of the Panchamaha Bhutani, sense organs were born. That is from the Yashti Sattvika Amshat, Indriyani Jayante. So, Yashti Sattvika Amshat, Indriyani Jayante, Samashti Sattvika Amshat, Antakarnam Jayate. This must be clear. Indriyani are born from Yashti Sattvika Amsha, Antakarnam is born out of Samashti Sattvika Amsha of Panchamaha Bhutani. And we have seen after this, we have seen the presiding deity of each faculty of the Antakarna. All the devatas we have seen, Chandrama, Brahma, Rudra, Vasudeva iti. So far, if you see, out of the 17 components of Sukshma Shariram, Saptadasha Kala, Kalabhishaha, Isa Saptadasha Kalabhishaha, Yatu Shariram, Tatu Sukshma Shariram iti. So out of the 17 components of Sukshma Shariram, Pancha Jnanendriyani, we saw, has come into existence, has been created. Antakarnam is also created. So, Pancha Jnanendriyani and Antakarnam. Pancha Jnanendriya and Antakarnam, these both have been dealt, and we know that these two have been created from the Sattva Guna of the Panchamahabhutani. It means we have dealt so far with the contribution from Sattva Guna of Panchamahabhuta. Panchamahabhuta, they have contributed the Sattva Guna and has resulted in the creation of Pancha Jnanendriyani and Antakaranam. So these two of Sukshma Shariram we have seen. And now, how Karmendriyanis are born, that have to be discussed. Karmendriya is also a part of Sukshma Shariram, Pancha Karmendriyani, and that is the topic now. Karmabhyaha Karmendriyani, natu Jnanai. The difference is between Jnanendriya and Karmendriya is Jnanendriya is for knowing, Karmendriya is for action. Jnanaya Jnanendriyani, Karmabhyaha Karmendriyani, Karmanaha Karmendriyani. The organs of action, the very name organs of action, it shows it's meant for action, not for knowledge. Because it is meant for action, the Karmendriyani, they should be empowered by Pancha Prana. They need energy because action is involved. Therefore, pranas are required, Pancha Prana, and they are responsible for activities. They are the activating principles behind the Karmendriya. Since Karmendriyas and Pranas, they stand for activity, they must be born of what aspect? Sattva aspect, or Rajas aspect, or Tamas aspect. Activity itself means it is only Rajas aspect. If it is knowledge, then Sattva Amsha will come. If it is activity, Rajas will come. That is why we say if a person is so active, we say Rajas is predominant in the person. He is so active, so dynamic, he cannot keep quiet for a moment, always doing one thing or the other. We say the person is Rajogunatmika, Rajas predominant person. So, since Karmendriya and Prana, they are responsible for activity and therefore they must be born of what? Rajas aspect, Rajoguna. And Rajoguna stands for what? Stands for action. So Sattvaguna has contributed now and Rajoguna is going to contribute, and from the Rajoguna of each element, what is going to be born? That is the next discussion. You can repeat after me. एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां मध्ये आकाशस्य राजसांशात् वागीन्द्रियं सम्भूतम्. Here Vagindriya, because speech involves action. Therefore better to put it here. Vagindriyam. Vayogo rajasamshat panindriyam sambhutam. Here pani means hands. Pani indriyam, not panini indriyam. Okay, this pani indriyam. No panini grammar here. Only dirgha sandhi is that is only panini. Padmege rajasamshat padendriyam sambhutam.
Vanhehe rajasamshat padendriyam sambhutam.
Jalasya rajasamshat upasthendriyam sambhutam.
Jalasya rajasamshat upasthendriyam sambhutam.
Prithivyaha rajasamshat budendriyam sambhutam.
Prithivyaha rajasamshat kutendriyam sambhutam.
Etesham samashti rajasamshat pancha pranaha sambhutaha.
Etesham samashti rajasamshat pancha pranaha sambhutaha.
I think the meaning should be clear to you, but still I'll explain this. From the Rajo Amsha of Pancha Bhutas, Pancha Mahabhuta, Pancha Jnanendriyani are born from the Rajo Amsha. What are they? From the Rajo Amsha of Akasha, Akasha, the first element, that is space, the organ of speech, Vagindriyam Sambhutam, Vagindriyam was formed. From the Rajo Amsha of Vayu, Vayu is air, the organ of hands, Pani Indriyam becomes Pani Indriyam Sambhutam, Pani Indriyam was born, hand. From the Rajo Amsha of Agni, that is Vani, Vani or Agni both are same. From the Rajo Amsha of that, the organ of feet, Pada, Padendriyam Sambhutam, Padendriyam was born. From the Rajo Amsha of Jalam, that is water, the organ and anus, Upasthendriyam was born, Sambhutam. From the Rajo Amsha of Prithivi, earth, the genital organ, Budendriyam Sambhutam. Okay. So 5 indriyas are born. Here all the indriyas are not the physical indriya, physical organs. Here indriyani itself shows that indriyani it is not physical. Indriyani is certain because it is part of Sukshma Sharira. So here when we say Vagindriyam, Panindriyam, Padendriyam, Upasthendriyam, Budendriyam, they are not the physical organs, they are the Sukshma Indriyani. Indriyani means Sukshma. If it is physical, we use the word Golakam. Understand the difference between Golakam and Indriyani. Thus, all the 5 organs of action, Karmendriyani, they are born from the Rajo Ansha of the Panchamaha Bhutani. Rajas aspect of all the 5 elements, these 5 organs of action are born. From the Sattva aspect of all the 5 elements, Jnanendriya was born. From the Rajas aspect of the 5 elements, the 5 organs of action, Karmendriyas are born. This is Yashti Rajo Amsha. Yashti is individual. From the individual Rajas of each element, each sense or each organs of action are born. Each organs of action, Karmendriya. So as I told, these 5 organs of action, they do not refer to the physical organs. They don't mean the Golakam. It refers to the power which is behind the organs which belong to the Sukshma Sharira. And Prana is a power which should function behind all the 5 sense organs of action. Without Prana, sense organs, not sense, without sense organs also, without Prana, the Karmendriyas cannot act at all. Like the mind should be behind the function of the sense organs of knowledge. Similarly, the Prana should be behind the organs of action. We saw the Antakarnam, that for the function of all the sense organs of knowledge, Antakarnam should be there. They should be backed up by Antakarnam. Similarly, Prana should back up all the organs of action. Therefore, since Prana is involved, or it is behind the function of all the organs of action, Karmendriya, therefore, Prana must be made out of what? Prana must be made out of the Rajo Amsha of all the elements, total. Samashti Rajo Amsha. From the individual Rajas aspect of the elements, organs of action are born. From the total Rajas aspect, Prana is born. That is what it is said here. It is Prana which blesses all the organs. Yashti Rajoguna creates Yashti organs, Samashti Rajoguna creates Prana. The name for that is Prana. And Prana, we know, Prana is 5-fold. We have seen, based on its 5-fold functions, Prana is 5. But Prana is only one. Prana is one, based on function, it has got different names. Like Antakarnam is one, and based on function, it is divided into 4. Similarly, Prana also. Now we will see the meaning of this sentence word by word. You can take and see. Etesham panchatattvanam madhye. Etesham panchatattvanam. You know the meaning. That etesham is of these panchatattva, 5 elements. Among these 5 elements, akashasya, of the akasha, rajasamshat, amshat is panchami. So the rajas aspect of the akasha, vagindriyam sambhutam. Vagindriyam is organ of action, that is the organ of speech, that is born. Speech is an action. That is why here we can use Vagindriyam. When you use Vagindriyam, and therefore in the previous one, what we saw, then better to use Vagindriyam because Vak is used here. And here speech is an action. So skin doesn't have any action, therefore we can use skin in that context, the previous context, that is Sattva Guna Amshata of Vayu Vagindriyam Sambhutam. So here Vagindriyam, and Vagindriyam is speech. Speech is an action. Taste also is an action. Taste also is an action only. But here speech is indicated. And speech means speech requires tongue and other parts of the mouth. So, but here what is indicated is the power behind the speech organ. That which facilitates the power of speech is Vagindriyam. So Vagindriyam Sambhutam. Vayogo Rajasamsha. Vayogo from the Vayu. Panchami Vibhakti. When something is born from something that is denoted by that is denoted in Panchami Vibhakti. Karanam. And that is the Karanam for something, then we use the Panchami. So Vayoga Rajasamshat from the Rajas aspect of Vayu, Vayogo Panchami. Subtle element, what is that? Pani Indriyam. Pani is Ikaranta. Pani Panayaka. Pani is hand. So Pani Indriyam. Savana Dirgha Sandhya has happened. Pani Indriyam Sambhutam. The hands were born. Vayu, it stands for strength. And therefore, when you say Vayu Putra, that is Anjanaya or Bhima, they stand for what? Strength. And strength lies in the hands. Again, here it is not the physical hand, but the Indriya. Therefore, Pani Indriyam Sambhutam. And Vannehe Rajasamsha. Vannehe is Agni. Vanni or Agni both are same. Agnehe or Vannehe, Panchami Vibhakti, Rajasamsha, from the Rajas aspect of the fire. What fire? Is it the physical fire? No, it is the subtle fire. Because Sukshma Panchamaga Bhutani, from that only, all these Indriyas are gone. Therefore, understand, everywhere it is only Sukshma. Don't think it is gross. Because gross has not come into existence yet. The process of creation, we have not yet come to the gross elements. Akasha, Vayu, and Agni, they are all only subtle. Sukshma, Agni. So you have to understand, Sukshma Vannehe Rajasamshat. Sukshma Vannehe Rajasamshat. Now what is born? Padendriyam Sambhutam. Pada is feet. Feet come into existence. So it means what all the physiological activities of the organs are, they are included. When we say Pada, Pani means everything, they are all included. Jalasya Rajasamshat, Sukshma Jala, again here, it is Sukshma Jala, the organ of evacuation, Upastha Indriyam Sambhutam. And Prithivyaha Rajasamshat, Prithvi Ikaranta Srileka, Panchami Vibhakti, from the Rajas aspect of Prithvi, that is the earth, Bhumi, Gudendriyam Sambhutam. This genital organ was born. In some text you will find this Jalasya Rajasamshat Gudendriyam Sambhutam. You will find this Gudendriya and Upasthendriya interchange. That is also okay, no problem in that. There is no Tattvabodha, big Tattvabodha in that. So both are fine. So the fivefold subtle karmendriyas are now born from the Sukshma Pancha Mahabhutani. So when the Sukshma Bhuta has come, and therefore Sukshma Prapancha also is born of these five subtle elements. Sukshma Prapancha, it is not discussed, but we have to understand. As the Sukshma Yashti Srishti, so also Sukshma Samashti Srishti. When we discuss the Yashti Samashti also, it is taken, considered. So Yatha Sukshma Yashti Srishti, Tata Sukshma Samashti Srishti. Because Samashti is not different from Yashti. All the Yashtis put together become Samashti. Therefore, Sukshma Samashti is Prapancha, the Sukshma universe, the whole universe. That's the Sukshma. Again, universe means not the physical, that Sukshma, subtle universe. So that also has come into being. Now, the author further explains that out of Samashti Rajoguna, Pranaha Sambhutaha Prana is born. Etesham Samashti Rajasamshat Pancha Pranaha Sambhutaha. That is, from the totality of the Rajo Amsha of all the five elements, five pranas are born, five pranas Sambhutaha. The entire physiological function is called prana. And therefore, the Samashti Rajo Amsha, it accounts for prana. And we are seeing the five pranas. What are they? Prana, Apana, Yana, Udana, Samana. We have discussed about this in the Pranamaya Kosha. In the Pancha Kosha Viveka we have seen, and also later also it came, we have seen in this front. So under the topic we have discussed Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. So you have to refer that. And since pranas are active, they are rajasic. They are rajas. And that is why pranas cannot think, pranas cannot perceive and think like sense organs. Though they belong to Sukshma Sharira, they cannot have the faculty of perception and thinking. They are responsible for keeping our life going. They are responsible for providing energy to carry out all the function. That is prana. Now, all the parts of Sukshma Shariram were created. It has come into being now. Pancha Jnanendriyani has come, Pancha Karmendriyani has come, Pancha Pranadaya also has come. So how many? 5 plus 5 plus 5, 15, and Manaha, Buddhihi, Agankaraha, Chitta plus 4. So 15 plus 4, 19. So all the 19 components have come into being and they constitute Sukshma Shariram. Whether you say 19 or 17 doesn't matter because they are dividing Antakarana into 4 or Antakarana into 2. Based on that, we have the difference in numbers, 17 or 19. So now we have 19 components have come. But if you remember, we said previously, just now, Ata Chaturvimshati Tattvabodha Prakaram Bhakshiyamaha. Chaturvimshati means what? 24. Chaturvimshati, that is 24 Tattva Utpatti Prakaram. That origination of this 24 Tattva is going to be discussed, we said. And Chaturvimshati is 24. Now, how 24? We have only 19. Therefore, 5 are missing. What are those 5? They are nothing but Pancha Mahabhutani, the 5 elements. Akasha, Vayu, Ityadi. So now 19 plus 5, 24. So Chaturvimshati Tattvabodha Prakaram Bhakshiyamaha. It is done now. So after the creation of Sukshma Bhutani, and from Sukshma Bhutani, the creation of Sukshma Shariram at the Vyashti level, and therefore the creation of Sukshma Shariram at the Samashti level have been discussed. I hope it's clear now. Then What is remaining now? With only Sukshma, no transaction is possible. You cannot do day-to-day transaction with only Sukshma Sharira. It is not possible. Therefore, now the physical body at the individual level, and the physical universe at the total level, they are to be created. That is, Stula Shariram and Stula Prapancham. Understand these pairs. Sukshma Shariram, Sukshma Prapancham, Stula Shariram, Stula Prapancham. Sukshma Shariram, we know. Sukshma Shariram we have discussed. What about Sukshma Prapancham? Sukshma Prapancham is nothing but Samashti Sukshma, that is Sukshma Prapancham. That also we know. So far we have discussed Sukshma Shariram, Sukshma Prapancham. Now we will discuss Sukshma Sharira Srishti and Sukshma Prapancha Srishti. That will be the discussion. And Stula Shariram is what? Annamayaha. Stula Shariram is Annamayaha. And when we discuss Stula Shariram, Stula Prapancham also will come. Therefore, so far we have seen the contribution of Sattva Amsha and Rajas Amsha in the creation of Sukshma Shariram and Sukshma Prapancham. So both have contributed, Sattva and Rajas of each element. If Sattva and Rajas Amsha of Panchabhutas, now they have done their job, so what is left out? What guna is left out? Tamo Amsha, tamas aspect of the elements, they are left out. And we have to account for Stula Shariram and Sukshma Prapancham. And Tamo Amsha of Panchabhuta is left out. So, do you understand the connection now? Therefore, the Tamo Amsha of Pancha Mahabhutas, they must be responsible for Stula Shariram and Stula Prapancha. And this Tamo Amsha of Pancha Mahabhuta, they go through a process of grossification, and it is called in Sanskritam Panchikaranam. By the process of Panchikaranam, these elements, they become grossified. Each subtle element is made into a gross element. And in the process, each element will have an element of the other four elements. That is going to be discussed next. They will see that now. So, with the creation of Stula Shariram and Stula Prapancham, what the Brahma, it is manifest now in the form of this Jagat. Understand? So we started from Maya Sagita Brahmanaha. That is, from Brahma only everything has coming to being. From Maya Sagita Brahmanaha Akashava Sambhutaha Akashadvayu iti. So it is all started from Brahma only, and therefore Brahma manifests in the form of this whole Jagat. From that only Sukshma, Stula, at the individual, at the total level have come into existence. Understand the aim of the Shastram is only to show that whatever it has come into existence is Brahma. Shastram doesn't have Tattvaryam in the creation. Tattvaryam of the Shastram is to show that whatever has come into existence is nothing but Ishvara, Parameshvara, that is Brahma. That is the Tattvaryam of the Shastram. Therefore, Shastram has its own prakriya to present a model of creation, the creation model. So now the Jagat has come. Jagat is what? Jagat is nothing but Brahma. We are not interested in establishing how things have come into existence. In fact, we want to establish nothing has come because everything is Brahma. So what has come? Nothing. So therefore, but we have a model. Shastram gives a model. That model, that is not the Tattparya. That is not the essential teaching of the Shastra. But we have a lot of questions about this creation and all. Therefore, Shastram presents a model. And by the model, the Shastram will shift our focus to the vision that everything is Brahma. That is the teaching of the Shastra. Now, the Brahma with the Maya Upadhi, we have seen Maya Sagita Brahmanaha, Akashara Ityadi, Maya with Brahma with the Maya Upadhi, that is a cause for the five subtle elements, and the five subtle elements is we are going to see is going to become grossified and they become elementals, that is Bhautikam. So, therefore, what is created now? What is created is nothing but only Nama and Rupa, only just a name and form, like from clay, you're making a pot. What is created? The pot is created, a pot is nothing but clay. Only a form and a name is given. A form has come into existence and you give a name. And Nama Rupa being Nitya, so what is there is nothing but clay. Similarly here, in the Srishti also, Nama Rupa being Nitya, what is there is only the knowledge of Ishvara. It is called Ishvara's knowledge. It is only the manifestation of Ishvara Jnana. Ishvara is, therefore we say Ishvara is all knowledge, Sarvajna. And this Jagat is nothing but the manifestation of all knowledge. We have discussed before and you would have discussed in Mundakopa also. The creation of spider's web. What is that? It is a manifestation of the knowledge of the spider. If that the knowledge it is there in the spider, Purna Nadi. If the knowledge is not in the spider would not have created a web. And also the material for making the web is from itself. It's from the spider itself. And but what here is the spider can pull itself away from the material. It can be away from the material. So spider and the material can become different. Whereas in the creation, in Ishvara's creation, it is not like that. There is a difference. Spider web is created by the spider. That is, spider is the nimitta karanam, and the upadana karanam, that is the material for making this spider also. So the web also, it comes from the spider itself, and the spider can be away from the material. But in Ishvara's creation, it is not like that. There is a difference. Ishvara's Maya Upadhi itself becomes the material, and Ishvara cannot pull himself away from the creation. Ishvara cannot be separate or away from the creation. Like in a dream. See, every example has got limitations. Spider example is good, but it has limitation. So we take another example. Now the example is dream example. Like in a dream, from your own standpoint as an individual, you, the knowledgeable person, you become the nimitta karana. You become the intelligent cause for the dream world. Swapna Srishti. So you are the nimitta karanam for this swapna, and you become the material cause also. Because the material for creating the dream is provided by you. That is through the upadhi of the mind. The mind is nothing but memories and impression, and that is the material for the dream. So you are the nimitta karanam and you are the upadana karanam. And the dream world, that is Swapna Srishti, it is not separate from you. You are the material for the dream, and the dream material is not away from you. You cannot pull yourself away from the dream material, like the spider can be away from the web. It's not like that. You are the creator of the dream, creator come material. Similarly, Ishvara also. Ishvara is all knowledge due to Maya Upadhi. And therefore, from the Upadhi standpoint, if you look at Ishvara becomes the material cause. But from his own standpoint, Ishvara is intelligent cause, is the nimitta karanam. And the knowledge of Ishvara is manifest in the form of this entire Jagat. And that is the reason when we want to worship Ishvara, we invoke Ishvara in any form. Because everything is Ishvara. The whole Jagat is Ishvara. Therefore, we can invoke Ishvara in any form. The form belongs to Maya. and the form doesn't have separate existence from Ishvara. Therefore, whichever form you worship, you are worshipping only Ishvara. Therefore, how can you confine Ishvara to a particular form? A particular form is Ishvara, but Ishvara is not that particular form. Somebody has a question in the Gita. So, you should understand this. Therefore, if you suppose you want to worship any god or goddess state, you worship the Ishvara in the form of Devi. You can do it, no problem in that. In fact, you can worship the Ishvara as one who includes a Devi also. In either way, it is going to be the same. So that is why someone used to say that in ancient Shiva temples, there will not be separate shrine for Devi, because Devi is included in the Shiva itself, in Ishvara. So when you go to the temple, you will find only a linga will be there. A linga means lingayate, buddhyate, nyayate, aneneti, linga. That by which something is known, that is called linga. Linga is a symbol. If all the forms are put together, all the forms of the Jagat are put together, so you cannot have a particular form. It is a formless form, and that is linga. The whole Jagat is in the form of a linga, and that is why we visualize Ishvara as one who is sun, who has sun, moon as his eyes, and heaven as his head, space as his body, air as his breath. So the whole Jagat is looked upon as the form of Ishvara. That is the visualization of Ishvara. It's a meditation. So the whole form is Ishvara, and that is in the form of a lingam. The lingam, really speaking, it doesn't have any form. So we are not worshipping the Nama Rupa, the Upadhi, but the Ishvara obtaining in the Upadhi. That is what we worship. If anybody says we are idol worshippers, no, we are not the idol worshippers. And Nama Rupa, any Nama Rupa, if you take, it is a whole. It is not individual. Any single form, it is good enough to invoke Ishvara in it. Suppose if you want to touch me, you can touch my little finger. Touching my little finger is as good as touching me. So touching the water or the wave is touching the ocean. You don't have to touch the whole Bay of Bengal or Atlantic Ocean to touch the ocean. To touch a wave or a water, that is enough, because that is enough. You are touching the ocean. The same way, everything being Ishvara, and you want to invoking, you are worshipping a Namarupa, it means you are invoking Ishvara in it. So, a particular Namarupa is a representation of the whole. Any one Namarupa, it is not separate from the whole. Therefore, we don't worship idols. And nobody worships the material cause, Upadana Karanam. Everybody worships Ishvara. So therefore, the necessity of the discussion of creation is not only to prove that all this is Ishvara, but also to solve the other problems which we have difficulty in connecting to Ishvara. So that is the necessity of discussing the creation. And we have a lot of forms to relate to Ishvara. And therefore the whole finally the whole thing reduces to only a form, a Nama Rupa. So every form being Ishvara, so a particular form is not separate from Ishvara. So there is no form. A form is nothing but the altar where you can offer your worship to Ishvara. And every form is Ishvara. So that is the reason why this particular model presentation of this Karana Karya Prakriya is important. We say Brahma Karanam Jagat Karya. So why this is important? To have this understanding that nothing is separate from Ishvara, everything is Ishvara, and therefore we can invoke Ishvara in any form, in any being. That is the idea. It is not just only for revealing the fact that what is there is only one non-dual Brahma, but also to provide you the same Brahma as Ishvara with whom you can relate. You can have your own bhavana, attitude towards that. That is the idea. So, from that Brahma, which is with Maya, now in the creation model, what is going to come? Stula Shariram and the Stula Prapancham. That was the discussion. So Stula Shariram and Stula Prapancham is going to come. And Stula Shariram cannot be created out of Sukshma Bhuta. Why? Because it is Sukshma. How can Sukshma, Stula can be created? Stula Shariram must be from Stula Bhuta, not from Sukshma Bhuta. But Stula Bhuta have not come into existence. It has not yet born. And therefore, what we require now to create Stula Shariram, we need Stula Bhuta. We need gross elements. And therefore, from this Sukshma Bhuta, we have to get Stula Bhuta. We have seen so far that Sattva Amsha and Rajo Amsha of Sukshma Bhutas have been utilized so far. Sattva aspect and Rajas aspect of all the 5 elements have been taken for the creation of the other Sukshma part. Now what is left out is Tamo Amsha, Tamas aspect. And they will be used for converting Sukshma to Stula Bhuta. And therefore, the discussion now it will be the creation of Stula Bhutas. That is the 5 gross elements from the tamasic aspect, the Tamo Amsha of 5 subtle elements, that Sukshma Pancha Bhutani will be the discussion. And this process is called grossification or Panchikaranam in Sanskritam. And grossified elements are called Panchikrita Bhutani. You would have seen the definition of Stula Shariram and Sukshma Shariram. Panchikrita Bhutani, Panchikrita Bhutani. And that Panchikrita is what is the next topic. So we will, before proceeding to Panchikaranam, we will read the next line. Etesham Panchatattvanam Madhye. Sorry, that I have not typed it. Okay. If you have the text with you, you can refer, or otherwise you can repeat after me. Etesham Panchatattvanam.
Etesham Panchatattvanam.
Panchatattva.
Panchatattva.
Tamasamshat.
Tamasamshat.
Panchikrita Panchatattwani.
Panchikrita Panchatattwani.
Bhavanti.
Bhavanti.
That line, instead of typing that line, by mistake I have typed this line, Panchapranaha, that we have seen. That is, Ekesham Panchatattvanam Tamasamshat Panchikrita Panchatattwani Bhavanti. This, from the tamas aspect, tamasa amshat of the 5 elements, this grossified Panchikrita Panchatattwani, grossified 5 elements are born. Panchikrita Panchatattwani Sambhutani. That is the next line. So, Etesham Pancha Sukshma Bhutanam Tamasamsha. That understand, from the tamas aspect of the 5 subtle elements, Panchatattwani Bhutani Sambhutani Bhavanti. The 5 Panchatattwani, the 5 grossified, Panchikrita Panchatattwani are born. Tattva means elements, element. What kind of Panchatattwani here? Panchikrita Panchatattwani. Panchikrita means grossified. Kritam means made. Panchikritam means made into 5. Made into 5. Pancha is 5. Kritam means made. Panchikrita means made into 5. Each of the element is made into 5. What does it mean? It means each element is divided into 5. Previously, we saw Akasha that was born. What is that Akasha? It is Sukshma Akasha. Similarly, Vayu also Sukshma Vayu, Sukshma Agni, Sukshma Apa, Sukshma Prithvi. Now, the Akasha, which is physically outside, which you can objectify, Akasha, which accommodates things and objects, that is a physical space, that is Panchikrita Akasha. It is grossified Akasha. In that Panchikrita Akasha, all the other four elements also exist. Understand? In the Panchikrita Akasha, all the other four elements also exist. Similarly, in the Vayu, in the air, the physical air, what you perceive, in that there is the presence of the other four elements. The presence of the other four elements in a fractional manner, it is there. Similarly, in the Agni, Apaha, and in the Prithvi, there is the fractional presence of the other four elements. Fractional presence of the other four elements other than itself. It is also there, and a fractional presence of the other four elements are there. The fraction is due to what? Divisions that we have made. Panchikrita. The fraction is due to divisions. We have divided each element into 5 parts, 5 portions. And this process is called Panchikaranam. And that is the next sentence. The Panchikaranam process is going to be described. And it's going to be 1 hour today, so we will stop here. And the process of Panchikaranam we will discuss in the next class. So we will stop here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hare Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hare Om. To stop here.